viewers, welcome to Sansad Television. You're watching the news with me, Rashika. We will take you through the top international and national news stories along with weather updates of the day. Let's begin with today's headlines. Prasasi Bharatiya Devas concludes in Indore. President Draupadi Murmu presents Prasasi Bharatiya Awards, calls Indian diaspora a unique force in the global system. Supreme Court refuses urgent listing of Joshimath petition. Center to set up micro-seismic monitoring system in Joshimath. Relief and rescue work intensified. Two-day conference of presiding officers of the Lok Sabha and State Assembly starts tomorrow at the Rajasthan Vidhan Sabha premises in Jaipur. Vice President and Lok Sabha Speaker to address the event. Nepal's newly elected Prime Minister Pushp Kamal Dahal Prachand wins vote of confidence, pledges to take forward politics of consensus, cooperation and mutual trust. India sets mammoth target of 373 for 6 wickets in the first ODI in Guwahati. Virat Kohli scores 45th century. A quick look at our flash segment. For the next 25 years, India will focus on 4 I's: infrastructure, investment, innovation and inclusion for inclusive growth, says Finance Minister Sitaraman. National Telemedicine Service e-Sanjeevani crosses 9 crore teleconsultations mark. Unique Identification Authority of India issues guidelines for offline verification, seeking entities to ensure better safety mechanism. 75th Army Day celebrations in Bengaluru on 15th January. First time that event is being conducted out of Delhi. India to achieve 20% ethanol blending in petrol by 2025, asserts Petroleum Minister Hardeep Puri. Vishwa Hindi Divas celebrated in Indian Embassy, Kathmandu. 5 Indian movies, including The Kashmir Files, Kantara, RRR, Gangubai Kathiawadi and Chelo Show, shortlisted for Oscars 2023 in first list. Karnataka Chief Minister Bommai announces inquiry into under-construction metro pillar collapse in Bengaluru that claimed 2 lives. Thousands of people in Brazil hold pro-democracy rallies in angry response to storming of Congress by ex-President Bolsonaro's supporters. U.S. Justice Department reviews classified documents found in President Joe Biden's former office at think tank. Now news in detail. President Draupadi Murmu said the Indian diaspora has become an important and unique force in the global system. She was addressing the valedictory session of the Prasasi Bharatiya Devas convention in Indore. President Murmu praised overseas Indians for achieving excellence in various walks of life, including art, literature, politics, business, academics, philanthropy, science and technology through hard work and resilience. She said the government is coming up with new policies for the Indian diaspora while praising them for playing a key role in the field of innovation. The president also conferred the Prasasi Bharatiya Samman Awards on 27 members of the diaspora to honor their achievements and contributions.
There could not have been a better time to commemorate contributions made by the Indian diaspora. The theme of this year's convention, Diaspora, Reliable Partners for India's Progress in Amrit Kal, also reflects our desire to make you a partner in the achievements of our national developmental goals. In recent years, the government has undertaken several initiatives for the benefit of our diaspora. These are not only aimed towards welfare of those residential abroad, but also towards enabling you all to engage in the tasks of nation building.
Madhya Pradesh Governor Mangubhai Patel, Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan, External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar and Civil Aviation Minister Jyotiraditya Scindia were also present.
Our diaspora has demonstrated exceptional qualities of dedication, commitment, and perseverance in many fields. Their contributions, achievements, and successes have earned them an enviable reputation in their respective societies.
On the last day of the Prasasi Devas in Indore, our correspondent Akhilesh Suman met diverse members of the Indian diaspora who shared their experiences of the event. Let's hear in.
The 3 days Prasasi Bharatiya convention is concluded now, and here with me are Prasasi Bhartiyas from different countries. If you sum up the 3-day experience, what is the message that you are taking from here to United Kingdom?
We have discussed all the innovation plans with the government, and we are working on the air connectivity direct from Indore to London. So there should be a direct flight.
What do you think that India can get from Oman because of your people like your presence?
This really Mahotsav, a beautiful experience I have now. Oman and India have very good relationship from quite long time, and both the nations are benefited, and we extend the more friendship in the coming time, right? As a oil and gas based energy.
One of the best neighbors we do have in Maldives. So what do you think? The message has gone to you, and what you are going to do in Maldives?
Now we are very clear, we have mentioned that we are the messenger for the other country, and we are going to host G20, and we are going to say what is India today.
What do you think that India can learn what you have seen in US?
So the only thing that I would get out of this place and also from the US is that we need to learn from the other countries, we need to earn from there, and of course give back to our nations and the root that we belong to.
So what do you think we can get from France after your experience?
I see a lot of investment opportunity. That was, as the Prime Minister told, that we are Rashtradoot.
Thank you so much for talking to Sansad TV, and let us hope for the best. This is Akhilesh Suman with camera person Kawaljit in Indore for Sansad Television.
And now our developing news. The Supreme Court has refused urgent hearing of a plea seeking the court's intervention to declare the crisis in Uttarakhand's Joshimath a national disaster. The top court said there are democratically elected institutions to deal with the situation and all important matters should not come to it. A bench of Chief Justice D.Y. Chandrachud and Justice P.S. Narasimha listed the plea of Swami Saraswati of Joshimath for hearing on 16 January. Saraswati has contended that the incident has occurred due to large-scale industrialization and sought immediate financial assistance and compensation. Joshimath is sinking gradually with huge cracks developing in houses, on roads and fields. Chief Minister Pushkar Singh Dhami has ordered immediate evacuation of 600 families living in houses that are at risk. Uttarakhand District Administration has intensified the relief and rescue work at the land-subsidized areas in Joshimath. Union Minister of State for Defence and Tourism Ajay Bhatti inspected the disaster-affected areas and met the affected people. He also held discussions with administrative officials at the army base. He said that the Prime Minister Narendra Modi is keeping himself updated about any new development regarding the Joshimath disaster. Officials from the Union Home Ministry, the National Disaster Management Authority and Uttarakhand Chief Minister Pushkar Singh Dhami to assess the situation in Joshimath. They stressed the need for ascertaining the location of underground water accumulation in the subsidence zone. Water accumulation under the ground in the affected area is considered to be in Joshimath, but the source of the water is yet to be ascertained. The government has also decided to mechanically demolish 2 hotels that developed huge cracks recently and were leaning towards each other. The efforts to evacuate affected people are also underway. The centre will install micro-seismic observation systems at Joshimath, the Himalayan town in Uttarakhand that recently developed cracks in houses, roads and fields. Earth Sciences Minister Jitendra Singh made the announcement at the India-UK workshop of geosciences in New Delhi. He said the observation system will be in place by Wednesday. Singh said there is a critical need for fundamental research on the physical processes that lead to failure of the brittle layers beneath the crust and subcrust. He also stressed the need to devise mitigation strategies to minimize human consequences of natural disasters. Singh said in the next 5 years, 100 more such seismological centers will be opened across the country for improving real-time data monitoring and data collection. Now moving on, presiding officers of the Lok Sabha and the legislative assemblies of various states will be meeting for a 2-day conference at the Rajasthan Assembly in Jaipur from Wednesday. The All India Conference of the presiding officers will be held under the chairmanship of Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla. Tomorrow, Vice President and Rajya Sabha Chairman Jagdeep Dhankar will inaugurate the function. Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla will address the inauguration ceremony along with Rajasthan Chief Minister Ashok Gehlot, Rajya Sabha Deputy Chairman Harivansh and Rajasthan Legislative Assembly Speaker C.P. Joshi. For the next 2 days, speakers and deputy speakers of legislative assemblies and legislative councils will brainstorm on various topics related to democracy and improving the functioning of legislative institutions.
इस सम्मेलन में मोटे तौर पर जो टॉपिक रखे हैं वो रखे हैं लोकतंत्र की जननी भारत का नेतृत्व G20 के कॉन्टेक्स्ट में जो पहला टॉपिक रखा वो G20 में लोकतंत्र की जननी भारत का नेतृत्व। दूसरा रखा है टॉपिक संसद एवं विधानमंडलों को अधिक प्रभावी, उत्तरदायी एवं उत्पादक युक्त बनाने की आवश्यकता। तीसरा रखा है डिजिटल संसद के साथ राज्य विधानमंडलों का संयोजीकरण और संविधान की भावना के अनुरूप विधायिका और न्यायपालिका के बीच सामंजस्यपूर्ण संबंध बनाए रखने की आवश्यकता। तो ये मोटे बिंदु रखें जिस पर मोटे तौर पर चर्चा होगी।
At the meeting of the Standing Committee chaired by Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla on Tuesday, a detailed discussion was held on the agenda of the conference. It was decided that the conference will include a detailed discussion on India's presidency of the G20 this year. Ahead of the presiding officers' conference, a meeting of the secretaries of the legislative assemblies was also organized. The Secretary General of both the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha were among those who took part in the conference.
This is extremely important because sharing and exchanging of information and knowledge and experience ultimately helps enrich our legislative bodies in their functioning, in the issues that are taken up, in the management of issues. And today, in the first round of discussions that we had on improving committee systems in state legislatures, we did get a lot of views and ideas and also information on innovation that is being carried out in different legislative bodies of the country.
In my view, it is a very, very important platform whereby the state legislatures and the Parliament of India, all the legislative bodies get a chance to share the experiences, the best practices and prepare a perspective for the future as to how one can improve the efficiency and effectiveness of the legislative bodies. Equally important would be the fact of trying to imbibe technology in our processes, whereby we can provide better services to the members in discharge of their parliamentary functions, and also the secretariat, where the employees are also able to discharge their functions in a more effective and efficient manner.
Now on the weather front, the cold wave is likely to ease over North India, including Delhi and Uttar Pradesh over the next 4 days. However, the Met Department has predicted dense fog over the next 24 hours. The cold wave in Delhi is due to a fresh western disturbance over northwest India. However, the dense fog reduced visibility to 50 meters for road and rail traffic. Visibility was recorded at 50 meters at the Palam Observatory near Indira Gandhi International Airport. 39 trains are running late by 1 hour to 5.5 hours. Satellite pictures showed dense fog in many parts of North India, including Punjab, Bihar, Haryana, Delhi and Uttar Pradesh. Since the beginning of January, the cold weather in Delhi has increased pressure on electricity grids and impacted the homeless. The state government has extended winter vacations in schools till 15th of January. Most places in Punjab and Haryana experienced a cold wave on Tuesday, with visibility dropping due to dense fog in the morning. According to the Met Department, Bhatinda in Punjab recorded a minimum temperature of 2.4 degrees Celsius, 2 notches below normal. Chandigarh, the joint capital of Punjab and Haryana, recorded a minimum temperature of 7.8 degrees Celsius. The minimum temperature in most places in Jammu and Kashmir dropped below zero, but Srinagar and Kupwara witnessed somewhat better conditions. Srinagar recorded a minimum temperature of 1.8 degrees Celsius on Monday night, as against 0.9 degrees Celsius the previous night. Kazigund, the gateway to the valley, recorded a minimum temperature of minus 0.8 degrees Celsius, and Koker-Nag in South Kashmir recorded minus 3.6 degrees Celsius. Gulmarg in Baramulla district recorded a minimum temperature of minus 4.4 degrees Celsius. Meanwhile, the meteorological department said moderate snowfall is expected at many places in the higher reaches and light to moderate snowfall in the plains of the valley. There was widespread moderate snowfall with rain in plains of Jammu and heavy snowfall in high reaches. Now look at some more news from across the nation. President Murmu called on the President of Guyana, Dr. Mohammad Irfan Ali, and the President of Suriname, Chandrika Prasad Santokhi, at the 17th Prasasi Bharatiya Sammelan in Indore on Tuesday. Prime Minister Modi will inaugurate the 26th National Youth Festival in Hubli, Karnataka on Thursday, 12th of January. The program is being held on National Youth Day, which is celebrated on the birth anniversary of Swami Vivekananda, to honor and cherish his ideas, teachings and contributions. This year, the festival is being held from 12th to 16th of January, with the theme being Viksit Yuva, Viksit Bharat. The Supreme Court will begin hearing on 14th February on the petitions related to the political crisis arising out of the split in the Shiv Sena. During this hearing will be held on many issues, including the powers of the Speaker. Senior advocate Kapil Sibal, appearing for the Uddhav Thackeray faction, told the bench that it would refer the case to a 7-judge bench to revisit the 2016 verdict on the powers of Assembly Speakers to deal with disqualification pleas. Auction of as many as 132 coal mines will be conducted this month under the 6th tranche in states including Odisha, Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh and West Bengal, among others. MSTC, under the Ministry of Steel, conducts e-auction of various materials, minerals and mines. India has exported 16.92 lakh tons of sugar till January 4 on the ongoing 2022-23 marketing year, including 59,596 tons of the sweetener to neighbouring China, trade body AISTA said today. Among other neighbouring nations, India has exported 1.47 lakh tons of sugar to Bangladesh and 82,462 tons to Sri Lanka during October to January 4 of the current marketing year. Now time for a short break in the bulletin. Be back for more international news on the other side. Welcome back to the news. Let's now get you all the updates from the Russia-Ukraine war front. In today's news from the battlefield, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said the resilience of Ukraine's forces fighting off waves of attack in the eastern Donbas region helped the country win time and strength. He also described Bakhmut and Soledar in the Donetsk region and Kreminna and Svitove in the Luhansk region as the current hotspots of the war. Zelensky added that new and fiercer attacks in the Soledar had left no wall standing and the land in the eastern front was covered with Russian corpses. Meanwhile, the Ukraine's General Staff of the Armed Forces claimed that 710 Russian soldiers were killed in the last 24 hours. US President Joe Biden administration said on Monday that Iran may be contributing to war crimes in Ukraine. US's National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan blamed Iran's sale of lethal drones to Russia for use in its ongoing invasion of Ukraine for it. Sullivan said Iran had chosen to go down a road where their weapons are being used to kill civilians in Ukraine and to try to plunge cities into cold and darkness. A close ally of Russian President Vladimir Putin has said that Russia is now fighting the US-led NATO military alliance in Ukraine. Russian Security Council Secretary Nikolai Patrushev said that it is no more a clash between Moscow and Kyiv, but a military confrontation between Russia and NATO, and above all, United States and Britain. The former Soviet spy also accused the Western nations of trying to pull Russia apart. A Russian warship armed with hypersonic cruise weapons held exercises in the Norwegian Sea, Russia's defense ministry said on Tuesday. The ministry said the crew of the admiral of the fleet of the Soviet Union Gorshkov frigate conducted air defense exercises. Last week, President Vladimir Putin sent the frigate to the Atlantic Ocean armed with new generation hypersonic cruise missiles. In a video conference with the defense minister and the commander of the vessel, Putin said that he was sure that Zircon hypersonic missiles would be able to protect Russia from any external threats. Now moving on to news from across the globe. Tens of thousands of people in Brazil held pro-democracy rallies in an angry response to the storming of Congress by ex-President Jair Bolsonaro's supporters. About 1,500 people have been arrested so far over Sunday's riots in the capital, Brasilia. They came a week after President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva was sworn in. Here are more details.
Thousands of pro-democracy demonstrators took to Sao Paulo's Paulista Avenue on Monday to demand punishment for those who attacked Brazil's top institutions on Sunday. Paulista Avenue was filled with protesters who rioted in the capital Brasilia while holding signs with messages such as "Democracy Forever." Neto Duarte, a demonstrator, said the attack was the worst moment in Brazil's history since the 1964 coup that established a military dictatorship. On Sunday, angry mobs rampaged through Congress, the Supreme Court and presidential offices, smashing windows, furniture and artwork in the worst attack on state institutions since Brazil's return to democracy in the 1980s. Around 1,500 people were rounded up in Brasilia after storming key buildings in the capital over the weekend. President Lula da Silva, a leftist who took office on the 1st of January after defeating his right-wing predecessor Jair Bolsonaro in an October election, vowed to bring those responsible to justice. Lula accused rioters of trying to overthrow democracy and questioned why the army had not discouraged calls for a military coup outside their barracks. Bolsonaro, who flew to the United States days before his term in office ended, was admitted to hospital in Orlando on Monday, complaining of intestinal pains related to a stabbing he suffered during the 2018 election campaign. His doctor said he has an intestinal blockage that is not serious and would likely not need surgery. Bureau Report, Sansad TV.
And in other news from across the globe, China suspended visas on Tuesday for South Koreans to come to the country for tourism or business in apparent retaliation for COVID-19 testing requirements on Chinese travelers. A brief notice posted online by the Chinese embassy in Seoul said the ban will apply until South Korea lifted its discriminatory measure on entrance by China to the country. Pakistan's top election body on Tuesday issued bailable arrest warrants for former Prime Minister Imran Khan and other top leaders of his party in a contempt case. The case is based on statements issued by top Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf leaders against the Election Commission of Pakistan and Chief Election Commissioner Sikandar Sultan Raja. The fortnight-old coalition government in Nepal, headed by Maoist leader Pushp Kamal Dahal Prachand, won the vote of confidence in the House of Representatives on Tuesday with a landslide majority. There were 268 A's in favor of the motion and just 2 against it. Surprisingly, the main opposition Nepali Congress, the largest party in the House, also supported the vote of confidence. French Prime Minister Elisabeth Borne is unveiling a highly sensitive pension overhaul aimed at pushing up the retirement age that has already prompted vigorous criticism and calls for protest from leftist opponents and worker unions. The minimum retirement age to be entitled to a full pension is expected to be gradually increased from 62 to 64 or 65, in line with a long-standing pledge by President Emmanuel Macron. Egypt continues to battle surging inflation amid a dramatic slide of its currency as many Egyptians struggle with price hikes, the country's Statistics Bureau said on Tuesday. The state-run agency released figures showing that the annual inflation was at 21.9% last month, up from 19.2% in November. That's compared to 6.5% in December 2021, before inflation ballooned in 2022 following the outbreak of Russia's war on Ukraine that rattled the world economy. A look at the latest from the world of sports. India win the first ODI against Sri Lanka, played in Guwahati. Batting first, India posted a mammoth 373 for 7. Indian bowlers restricted visitors to 306 for 8. Win match by 67 runs. Lankan captain's century goes in vain. Virat Kohli makes full use of 2 drop chances, scores 45th ODI 100. Kohli, who scored 113 against Bangladesh in Chattogram in India's last ODI, continues from where he left. Scores 87 ball 113 in Guwahati. Captain Rohit Sharma and Shubman Gill put up a 143-run stand for the first wicket. Rohit scores 83 of 67. Gill makes 70 of 60. Edie and Ketia scored twice as Arsenal set up a FA Cup 4th-round clash away with Manchester City after seeing off third-tier Oxford United 3-0. Ace India's shuttler Saina Nehwal and Kidambi Srikanth's woeful run continue as they suffer first-round exits from the season-opening Malaysia Open in Kuala Lumpur. It's a wrap of today's bulletin. Keep watching Sansad TV for all news updates. Good night.